In this video, we'll cover strings in JavaScript, how to create them, the different ways to delimit them, and how to work with the string methods and characters. So strings in JavaScript are sequences of Unicode character. Unlike some programming languages, JavaScript doesn't have a separate character type. If you need a single character, you just use a string with one character. Let's look at a very simple example that we've seen before. So here we are creating a simple string and verify its type with the type of operator. There are three different ways to create a string in JavaScript. You can use single quotes, you can use double quotes, and you can also use backticks, which is called template literal. So we're gonna look at the backtick example more carefully because that has special powers. So let's take a look at an example. Well, first let's see just an example of using these three different styles. All of them will basically create the same string. But now let's go and take a look at an example that shows you how template literals work. So here in this example, I am creating a string name, which is my name, and then I'm using a template literal using backticks. And what you see here is this special syntax. Notice that I use a $sign followed by curly braces, and this allows me to embed the value of name directly into the string. You can put any JavaScript expression in here. So if I run this, you can see that it prints out hello Ali. Also notice that I can create multi-line strings without using the special \n escape character. And as I said, you can replace this with any expression. So for example, if I put something like 1 + 1 and I run this, it says hello 2, which is not going to make much of a sense, but just to say that basically you can drop in any expression, and that makes template literals very powerful. All right, let's also notice that string, it comes with a suite of utility operations and attributes that help you to work with them. So let's take a look at some examples. There are many of these, but we can just take a look at a few. So here, after I create a name, I can get the length, which is going to give me the number of characters in that string. I can use the operation character at, which as the name suggests, it would return a character at a specific position. This is a zero-based index. So character at index 1, in fact, is the second character in the name. Excuse me. You can also do something like to uppercase, which basically change the entire name, every character to uppercase character. There are other operations, and you can consult various online resources like MDN to see what are the other operations that you might be able to use. Let me focus on something interesting. So notice that I use character at to access individual characters. This is something that I want to spend a bit more time on. Since 2015, you can also access the characters using a notation very similar to accessing array elements. So you can do something like this, like animal is cat, and then animal at index 0, animal at index 1, animal at index 2, and this basically gives you the individual characters. However, you got to be careful that although you can access the individual characters like this, you can't update them in the same way that you would, for example, update an array element. Strings are immutable, so to speak, which means that after they're created, you cannot modify them. So if I try to run this code, the first console log basically shows every character one by one, and the statement on line 4, which I'm trying to change the first character from C to B, essentially has no effect. When I go and print the variable animal again, it still holds its original value. Okay, so we've covered string basics, the three different ways that you can specify that you're dealing with a string literal using single quotation, double quotation, or backtick, which creates template literals. And template literals are powerful. They allow you to create multi-line strings and to embed expressions. And on top of that, JavaScript comes with a lot of helper methods over strings, which allows you to work with them perhaps more efficiently compared to some other programming languages. But one thing that you need to keep in mind is that strings are immutable.